Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going deep into cybersecurity in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
Our guide for this little adventure. It's Google Cloud's Cybersecurity Forecast 2025 report,
Okay.
packed with predictions from the best in the business.
Right.
We're talking Sunil Potty, Sandra Joyce, Charles Karmakal, Phil Venables.
Well, big names.
Oh, and that's just for starters.
Yeah.
We've got experts from Google Threat Intelligence, Mandiant Consulting, and more.
Sounds like they really covered their bases.
And let me tell you, some of these predictions are seriously mind-blowing.
Oh, like what?
We're talking AI writing phishing emails that can fool anyone.
No way.
And get this, vulnerabilities exploited in just a few days.
Yikes. That's fast.
So buckle up, folks, because the future of cybersecurity is a wild ride.
I can't wait to hear more.
What really makes this report stand out, though, is that it's not just speculation. It's based on what these experts are seeing right now.
So it's grounded in reality.
Exactly. It gives us a real glimpse into what's coming next year.
That's reassuring, in a way.
Yeah. So for those of us trying to navigate this crazy landscape, what are the big takeaways?
Well, the report highlights a few major trends shaping cybersecurity.
Okay, I'm all ears.
First off, the speed of tech advancement, especially in AI, is incredible, and it's impacting both attackers and defenders.
Makes sense. Both sides always try to stay ahead of the curve.
Right. And at the same time, the global landscape is, well, tense.
Right.
Geopolitics always have a big impact on the cyber world.
That's a great point. Those two things are definitely connected.
Oh, for sure.
So given these trends, what changes do organizations need to make? Can they even keep up?
The report makes it clear that a reactive approach just won't cut it anymore.
Yeah, always playing catch up.
Exactly. Organizations need to be proactive.
Okay.
They need a comprehensive security strategy, cloud security, identity and access management, threat intelligence.
Sounds like a holistic approach.
Absolutely. It's got to be all-encompassing.
Speaking of tech, let's talk about AI. The report predicts AI-driven cyber attacks, which sounds scary. Can you give us a picture of what that could look like?
Well, imagine a phishing attack.
Okay.
But this one's powered by AI.
I'm listening.
The AI could create super convincing emails, personalized to target individuals.
So it's not just a generic email blast anymore.
Nope. It's tailored to your interests and habits.
Wow, that's a whole new level of deception.
Right. It'd be way harder to spot.
But I'm guessing AI can also be a tool for defenders.
Absolutely. That's what makes this so interesting.
Ooh.
Phil Venables calls 2025 the second phase of AI in action.
Okay.
It's where AI moves beyond pilot projects and becomes widely used in security operations.
So what does this second phase actually look like?
Imagine your security team using AI to automate routine tasks.
Okay.
Things like analyzing logs or identifying suspicious activity.
Taking care of the grunt work.
Exactly. That frees up human analysts to focus on more complex threats.
So AI is more about augmenting our capabilities, not replacing humans.
Right. It's about working smarter, not harder.
Are there any concrete examples from the report that show this shift?
One example is the use of AI to develop really persuasive social engineering attacks.
Like what?
Think spear phishing campaigns,
Okay.
where attackers target specific people with super customized messages.
So even more personalized than those AI-powered phishing emails we talked about.
Yeah, the AI can analyze tons of data to create incredibly convincing pretexts.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
It is. If it's personalized and compelling enough, you wouldn't think twice about clicking a link or opening an attachment.
It seems like AI is leveling the playing field in a way. So how does this affect the bigger picture, especially when it comes to nation-state actors?
Good question.
The report talks about Russia, China, Iran, and North Korea in 2025, the big four.
Right.
What are some of the key predictions for each of them?
Well, the report suggests Russia's cyber focus will probably stay on Ukraine.
Okay, so more of the same.
We can expect disruptive attacks against critical infrastructure and broader espionage activities targeting Europe and NATO countries.
So even though the immediate focus might be on Ukraine and its allies,
Right.
the impact of these cyber attacks could be felt globally.
Absolutely. Think about supply chain disruptions, economic instability, and the spread of malware or techniques.
So no one is truly isolated in the digital world.
Nope, we're all connected.
That's a sobering thought.
It is.
That global ripple effect is definitely something to keep in mind. So what about China? What's on their cyber agenda for 2025?
Well, the report predicts that China will continue with their aggressive and stealthy cyber espionage and information operations.
Okay, so business as usual.
Pretty much. Their main targets will likely be Taiwan and the U.S.
Makes sense given the current geopolitical climate.
Right. And one thing that stood out to me is their continued focus on vulnerabilities in embedded systems.
Embedded systems.
Yeah, things like network devices and industrial control systems.
So potentially targeting critical infrastructure in a more subtle way.
Exactly. It's something organizations need to be aware of.
Definitely. So we've covered Russia and China. What about the other two members of the Big Four, Iran and North Korea? What are they up to?
Well, Iran's cyber operations are expected to be closely tied to the Israel-Hamas conflict.
So their actions will be driven by that specific situation.
Most likely, we can expect them to target government and telecommunications infrastructure in the Middle East and North Africa.
Sounds like a very targeted approach.
It is. And then there's North Korea.
Right. They've been pretty active in the cybercrime world lately.
North Korea is interesting because they're motivated by both geopolitical goals and economic needs.
So they're playing both sides of the field.
In a way,
Hmm.
the report predicts they'll continue to target South Korea and the U.S.,
Okay.
but they're also likely to ramp up their cybercrime activities.
Such as?
We're talking IT worker impersonation scams, exploiting cryptocurrency exchanges, especially in the JPAC region, and even using Trojanized open-source software packages to target developers.
That's a pretty diverse portfolio of cybercrime. Why are they so focused on the JPAC region?
Well, the JPAC region has seen huge growth in cryptocurrency adoption and online financial activity.
Makes it a prime target.
Exactly. And North Korea, with all the economic sanctions they face, has become very good at using cybercrime to make money.
It's like they've found a way to weaponize the digital economy.
That's a good way to put it.
Sure.
It shows how the lines between nation-state actors and cybercriminals are getting blurrier.
It's not always clear who's behind an attack anymore.
Right. And their motives can be complex and overlap.
And it's not just about high-profile targets either. The report talked about the rise of infostealer malware. Have you ever been the victim of a data breach?
Oh yeah, I think most of us have at this point.
It seems like it's happening all the time. So is that what infostealer malware is all about? Stealing data on a massive scale?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. It's designed to steal all kinds of sensitive information, passwords, credit card numbers, personal data, you name it.
Scary stuff.
What's really worrying is how easy these campaigns make it to get stolen credentials.
Even for low-skilled actors.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just sophisticated hackers anymore.
Yeah.
Anyone with a bit of technical know-how could potentially become a cyber criminal.
That's a sobering thought.
The report also warns that a lot of organizations still don't have basic security measures, like two-factor authentication.
Really?
It makes them incredibly vulnerable to attacks using stolen credentials.
So it's like leaving the door wide open for attackers.
Pretty much.
Yikes. This interconnectedness of the cybercriminal world is also apparent in Web3 and cryptocurrency. Those were highlighted in the report too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Web3 and cryptocurrency organizations are becoming high-value targets.
Why is that?
Well, attackers are getting better at exploiting vulnerabilities in smart contracts and stealing private keys.
Which can lead to?
Huge financial losses. And the report predicts that North Korean actors will continue to be major players in this space.
So it's not just about stealing data anymore, it's about stealing actual currency.
But what makes Web3 and cryptocurrency so vulnerable is that the tech is still relatively new.
So the security measures aren't as mature.
It's exactly. Plus, the decentralized nature of these systems makes it harder to track down attackers and get stolen funds back.
It's like the Wild West out there.
Yeah, pretty much. And speaking of the Wild West, the report also highlights how fast vulnerabilities are being exploited these days.
Right. You mentioned this earlier. The time to exploit shrinking from 32 days to just 5.
It's a huge shift.
It makes it tough for organizations to keep up.
They're constantly playing catch-up.
So with all these challenges, AI-driven attacks, nation-state actors, sophisticated cybercrime, and vulnerabilities being exploited so quickly, what can organizations do to improve their cybersecurity in 2025?
Well, there is hope. The report has some practical recommendations.
Okay, I'm listening.
One of the most important is to start preparing for quantum computing.
Quantum computing, that sounds like science fiction.
I know, right? But quantum computers are incredibly powerful.
How so?
They can perform calculations way faster than anything we have today.
Okay.
And experts believe that once they become widely available, they'll be able to crack the encryption we use now.
So all our passwords, financial transactions, everything online could be vulnerable.
Potentially, yes. That's why the report says organizations need to start transitioning to post-quantum cryptography standards.
What are those?
They're new encryption algorithms that are designed to be resistant to attacks from quantum computers.
So even though quantum computing isn't a threat right now, it's something we need to be thinking about for the future.
Exactly. We need to be prepared.
What other recommendations does the report have?
Well, with more and more organizations moving to the cloud, strengthening cloud security practices is crucial.
So it's not enough to just rely on the cloud provider's security.
No, organizations need to understand the shared responsibility model.
What's that?
The cloud provider is responsible for securing the infrastructure,
Okay.
but the organization itself is responsible for securing its own data and applications.
So they need to take an active role in their cloud security.
Absolutely. They
Yeah.
can't just assume the cloud provider is taking care of everything.
So what should organizations be doing?
They need to be proactive about implementing their own security controls, like encryption, access management, and vulnerability scanning.
So treating their cloud environments with the same level of security as their on-premises systems.
Exactly. And this is especially important in the EMEA region.
Why EMEA specifically?
Mandiant has seen a rise in cloud security incidents there.
And why is that?
It seems like a lot of organizations in EMEA are adopting cloud technologies quickly,
Okay.
but they may not have the expertise or resources to secure those environments effectively.
So it's a combination of rapid cloud adoption and a lack of experience with cloud security.
Pretty much organizations need to invest in training and resources to make sure their teams know how to secure their cloud environments.
Makes sense. What about identity and access management, or IAM?
IAM is crucial. It's all about controlling who has access to what information and systems within an organization.
And with all these stolen credentials floating around, strong IAM controls are more important than ever.
Exactly. So what are some recommendations for strengthening IAM?
Well, we talked about two-factor authentication earlier. That's a must-have.
Right. The report also recommends using phishing-resistant MFA methods, like hardware security keys or mobile authenticator apps.
Those are more secure than SMS or email-based MFA.
Much more.
What else can organizations do?
They should implement the principle of least privilege.
What's that?
Users should only have access to the information and systems they need for their jobs.
So limiting the potential damage if an account is compromised.
Exactly.
Makes sense. Any other IAM tips?
Don't forget to regularly review and audit user accounts and permissions. It's easy to overlook, but it's important.
So we've covered cloud security and IAM. What other areas should organizations be focusing on as we head into 2025?
Well, with this shrinking time to exploit, organizations need to be much faster at patching their systems.
Patching vulnerabilities. It's cybersecurity 101, right?
It is, but with that shrinking time to exploit, organizations really got to step up their game.
Well, it's not just about patching, it's about patching fast.
You got it. And that means streamlining those processes.
So are we ditching the spreadsheets and the manual checklists?
Exactly. Think automation.
Automation, okay.
Automate as much of that patching process as you can. Got to be sure updates are applied quickly. No more waiting around for manual downloads and installs.
Right. Get those systems updated ASAP. And that ties into the vulnerability scanning we talked about, right?
Absolutely. Regular vulnerability scanning is key. Got to find those weaknesses before the attackers do.
And how do we do that?
Ideally, integrate that scanning with your patching process. You can prioritize the most critical issues that way.
So patching, vulnerability scanning, crucial stuff, especially with this accelerated threat landscape we're facing. Anything else we should be adding to our to-do list as we head into 2025?
The report really stresses threat intelligence. Organizations need to stay informed.
Informed, okay?
Yeah.
About what exactly?
What's happening in the cyber world? The latest attack techniques, the major players, where are the emerging threats coming from?
So it's not just about the tools and tech, it's about having the right knowledge, the right insights.
Exactly. Threat intelligence can help you anticipate those potential risks and make informed decisions about your security strategy.
So it's like having a sneak peek at the attacker's playbook.
You could say that. It helps you be ready.
Okay, I like it. So where do organizations get this threat intelligence? Is it something you have to pay for?
Lots of sources out there, some free, some paid. You can subscribe to threat intelligence feeds. There's also industry events, and you can engage with those security researchers.
There's a range of options.
Oh, and there are organizations like the Cyber Threat Alliance. They're dedicated to sharing that threat information.
I like that collaborative approach. Good to know organizations aren't in this alone.
Cybersecurity, the team sport.
Right. Couldn't agree more. We all have a role to play. Well, it's been fascinating unpacking this cybersecurity forecast for 2025.
It has.
It's clear that the threat landscape is changing fast, but it's not hopeless. By being proactive, having a comprehensive cybersecurity plan, understanding the risks of new technologies, and working together, we can build a more secure digital world.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's constant learning, adapting, and collaborating, but it's worth it. The stakes are too high to ignore.